I'm going to make a semi hatchling rack that will fit FB10s and FB5s. Trying to use 1/4 inch PVC for this hatchling rack. Seems kind of flimsy. Let's see how it turns out. I sandwiched them all together to make sure the cuts are even, and I'm using this finishing blade that works incredibly well for cutting it. Now I'm attempting to attach these little bitty sides that I'm going to try and use. I like to use one of these things. They're only like $4 at Harbor Freight. This stuff is so thin. Drilled some pilot holes. And I'm going to put the first screws in. Putting screws in by hand because this stuff is not super strong. Well, it's starting to come together. I'm lining up shelves. I have a piece of cardboard under there for a spacer. Hand screwing screws in. Go one more level. All I have to do is run heat tape and thermostat. Put some spacers in the middle, actually. Well, it's not done. Still gotta glue these pieces, these center braces in. But I've got 4 FB5s per level. There's 8 total, and then 2 FB10s. And then the FB10s aren't needed. These can go down here too. Pretty cool. I'm excited about it. Alright, I'm going to start putting heat tape on this little rack. Pretty impressed with the sturdiness of this. Half-ass 1/4 inch rack. It's going to hold 8 FB5s and 2 FB10s. I'm going to run the heat tape through the gap. See how it goes. Alright. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have 3 separate levels of heat tape, and I'm going to jump them together. I don't like running it continuously, so I'm going to prepare some wire ends, and I use these little crimps. There's going to be a lot of haters. See, I shouldn't. These are what I use, and they've always worked fine. This is my 3rd rack build, and everything is going fine. I've built 3 racks using these crimps. I've never had any trouble. I got them from the bean farm. This is 18 gauge wire. It's from an old extension cord that I wasn't using anymore. It's the guts out of it. Got 3 of them. I don't know if you can see any of that, but 3 of them. Alright, the first set of crimpers on. Just crimpers, you know. Just put them on here. Line them up with the metal. I'll fold them over. Get them started. To be honest with you, I don't know. I know there's better ways with rivets, soldering. This one is for method. You can get them from the beam farm. Pretty much anybody can do it. I should. That's how I did it. And this will be hooked up to a thermostat. I like to use a plug with a fuse in it, just in case stuff starts getting haywire. Whoosh, pop the fuse. Don't burn my house down. I almost forgot. You've got to cover these with heat tape, or they sell plastic clips to cover them. I didn't buy any plastic clips. I'm going to use electric tape. I might have just said heat tape. I'm going to use good old-fashioned electric tape. The ends where we've made the cuts to separate the pieces. I'm going to cover that. Another thing I like to do before I put heat tape down is put down some of this foil tape. And I put this down, and then I put another little bit on it to hold the heat tape down. But I don't know why I like to put this down. And so, a little update on the wiring of this rack. Since I made that video, I rewired it. I didn't like it in succession. Didn't like the way it was distributing the heat, so I went back and I just rewired a plug to each individual level, and then you can plug this in to your thermostat, whatever stat you use, and plug in only the levels you're using. So that's how it's wired now. I'm currently only using one level of this rack. Got this girl in there. Let's see, have the cage cleaned, and I just put this boy in the other day. But yeah, that's the updated wiring. Alright, so here's the hatchling rack. Just watched me build out a 1/4-inch PVC. I decided to put these FB10s in the middle because that's where I have the heat probe, and I have a female in here growing out. That's a pastel spider, scaleless head, posset puzzle, and I closed in the back of it. I forgot to show that with some corrugated plastic. My room is heated and is about 80 degrees, so I don't worry too much about the sides not retaining heat really. I'm pleased with the way it came out. You know, this PVC board is pretty cheap. Took 2 of the 2x4 sheets of that to make it, and they were 14 bucks a piece. And I had a thermostat. I bought the FB5s and the FB10s. You know, without those, you know, this thing really only cost me about $30. Well, let's say 35 or 40, because of the, if you don't have heat tape laying around like I did, you'd have to buy that. And I reused wire for the wiring, so you could probably make this rack for 55 bucks without the tubs. And you don't have to use these kind of tubs. I like them. They're pretty long. Pretty cool. Alright, thanks for watching.